All right, so in this hour, we'll be sharing the real-world solution with EPM Cloud and OAC at PEMCO. This is Josie Manzano-Stetler. I'm the Planning Practice Director at NRL, and I'm co-presenting with Jessica Delgado at PEMCO. Jessica, you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about PEMCO?
Sure. Again, my name is Jessica Delgado. I'm the Director of Planning and Reporting at PEMCO Insurance. We're located in Seattle, Washington. We write property and casualty insurance out of Washington and Oregon.
Sorry, my mouse is just warming up. Okay, so just a quick mention of NRL. We are a 5-time EPM and Analytics Partner of the Year. And in case you haven't caught our webcast series, we have a webcast schedule that's really packed for November and December. So for November, we have tools and best practices, and in December is demo month. So please go ahead and catch it and go to nrl.com/updates for the full details and calendar.
So today, as Josie said, we're going to talk to you about PEMCO's journey with Planning Cloud and working together with OAC, and how we have moved to the cloud and put those two products together and are using them for PEMCO and the best practices to do so. We're going to share today with you why we use them together, when it makes sense to combine that, and the implementation process we took to get there, and how to actually integrate the two solutions. So our prior on-prem solution had various issues. We had too many data sources, manual data validations, data sources not available for system reporting, and we had restrictive security, which did not allow enough data visibility to the right people in the organization. Next. So prior to our on-prem solution, we obviously had started in Excel for planning. And so in 2013 was the beginning of our journey out of Excel and onto on-prem. So great, we put in Hyperion, and so we had on-premise servers and with that on-premise solutions. Planning, as we moved to the cloud, we wanted to solve some of our pain points that we had experienced over the last 5 years. Manual processes, our upgrades were painful. We had a clunky end user interface. For both planning and reporting, we had a corporate strategy of moving our systems to the cloud, so we needed to get in line with that, as well as moving off of old servers that were also in the building to cloud products. So with reporting, in addition to those I just mentioned with planning, we had a high level of support needed for the design and security that we had put in originally with OBIE, that once it had been implemented, we realized was too restrictive. We wanted to solve that. Due to those security issues, we had limited audience. And we were also looking for a solution that would include multiple data sources, but with one reporting platform that would allow, no matter what the data source, whether it was planning, third party, or ERP, that our people and users would be able to go to one place to get their reporting. So when to make the decision to move to the cloud? So some of the questions to ask yourself: do you have old servers? Do you have limited IT support? Do you need a brand new solution that you don't currently own? Do you currently own an old version? Or do you have compatibility issues? If any or all of these, are yes, then it's time for you to think about moving to the cloud.
All right, sorry, I had to get all the animation that we forgot to clean up out of the way. All right, so here's the full scale of an Oracle BI and EPM cloud solution, starting at the bottom with the data sources. And next you have the platform as a service, applications, which include OAC and Essbase 19C. Next, you have the software as a service, which includes the Planning Cloud, financial close and consolidation, narrative reporting, account reconciliation cloud, profitability and cost management cloud, so forth. And at the top, you have the reporting and analysis solutions, which include the tools. Several of them includes the tools from OAC, as you can see here, as well as SmartView. The highlighted items in yellow are the solutions that PEMCO had deployed. And as you can see, they have a full stack going on here. But right now, we are going to focus our journey on the Planning Cloud and OAC. So a quick overview on Planning Cloud. It's undoubtedly the most widely implemented EPM Oracle Cloud business process to date. Planning Cloud offers a highly scalable, centralized planning and forecasting solution. So to highlight a few features, so even though it has a great web interface, it has pretty much the same features that you could trigger from an Excel interface through SmartView. It also includes predictive planning, and you could also do what-if modeling with sandboxes. It has the greatest calculation engine in the world in the backend, which is Essbase, and it has customizable role-based navigation flows. Planning Cloud has all of the features from on-premise Hyperion planning, plus a whole lot more. So this massive list features includes the features that are available on cloud, but not available on-prem. And most recently, probably one of the biggest features that released over the last couple of months is auto predict. So if you haven't checked it out, it's pretty darn cool. Planning Cloud comes with pre-built modules developed from best-in-breed practices and approaches that save lots of development time and even future-proofs your solution. The modules include financial statement planning, workforce planning, capital asset planning, project planning, and strategic modeling. In this initial phase, PEMCO deployed financials and workforce. Capital asset planning and projects will be next on deck. Oracle Analytics Cloud, or OAC, is a platform of leading-edge analytic capabilities for data modeling and preparation, visualization, enterprise reporting, and advanced self-service analytics. Data visualization, or DataViz, was deployed at PEMCO. This provides self-service data exploration and analytics. It's connected to the Essbase cubes and ADW for data exploration, analysis, and dashboards. It has a very user-friendly interface, and it's currently used by the accounting team at PEMCO. PEMCO also implemented guided dashboards, which provides the traditional button-click dashboard experience, and it's appropriate for enterprise-wide visual reporting. So as you can see, this slide is full of use cases for implementing both OAC and Planning Cloud. But in a nutshell, the main reason is basically taking your EPM, the ability to take your EPM cloud data to a wider audience and providing users with cool service analytic tools to dive in and mine the data using high quality visualizations to tell the story.
So for PEMCO, the why OAC and planning really came down to a couple of things. And one was we really wanted to get our reporting out to the whole community of users, which for us is over 550 people, and from going from an all employee dashboard view to all the way up to our board of directors. We have no longer distribute your what you would call normal financial statements, but report everything through our financial dashboard, and so it's been really globally used. It's our one central place for reporting. There's nowhere else anybody goes to. We're able to secure the dashboards. Having planning be secured based on security rules around groups and departments. But when we bring the data into OAC for reporting, we're not bringing in confidential data. It's just financial statement data, which allows us to have a less cumbersome security model and only secure the dashboards themselves based on user groups. So if you're an executive, a board, a planner, an all-employee type group scenario, which has made it much more user-friendly for not only the FP&A team to maintain, but also for the groups to be able to use themselves. And it's mostly finance maintained, and I would say really we maintain most of everything except we'll talk a little bit about the kind of the updates, the monthly update process. So we went through this move to both planning and OAC in the cloud in sort of a phased approach. Our first phase was really about migrating Hyperion planning off of on-prem and into Planning Cloud. When we did that, we leveraged and utilized the workforce module and used pre-built forms, enhanced our end user experience, and also utilized all of the FR reporting for planning processes. And so really just trying to use planning. The focus was let's use planning for planning. And when we moved it to the cloud, the idea was planning for planning, not for reporting for the whole company. And when we laser focused on that, it really allowed us to use it to its best, what it was really meant to do. Our phase 2 was more, okay, so we're going to put in Oracle Analytics Cloud. This is where we're going to do our analyses. This is where we're going to do our reporting. This is how we can report out to the company, not only planning data, but planning, actuals, forecasts, etc. How do we bring all this data together? So in order to do that, we replaced OBIEE on-prem with our OAC and established a couple of Essbase cubes at the time that we implemented. We also brought in a new integration tool. So we're using OneCloud Integration Studio to move the data between planning and OAC Essbase cubes. And we're also using data visualization, Oracle data visualization, to create third-party data sources, which we're also utilizing on our OAC dashboards, on our BI dashboards. So once we got that put in, that was kind of our phase 2. We moved on to phase 3, which was getting everything set up on a common reporting. What reporting tool are we going to use for what specific purpose, and making sure we knew what that was and defining that. So for us, OAC BI dashboards we decided we're going to be used for all finance reporting for all employees. We've also implemented this last year narrative reporting. So we implemented narrative reporting to have reporting packages that would move through the accounting group up through the CFO to have auditability of those reports, and have a package where we could have narrative and pull in those FR reports. We're utilizing management reporting for static Essbase reporting. And we've also brought in the OAC BI publisher for static non-Essbase reporting, so the reporting out of our ADW. So in phase 4, which is where we are now. We are finishing our move to the cloud. We are currently bringing in, moving off of PeopleSoft on-prem and moving to OFC. So our financials ERP system is moving to the cloud to go live in January. And with that means that we're going to be creating some connections to the transactional data within OFC and visualizing that using data viz, and as well as continuing the creation of visualizations of our operational data, which we've moved into the ADW that we have. That's it. So our overall solution now really focuses on being able to provide accurate and timely data in an efficient manner for both our consumers and our FP&A team, and to be able to let the business leaders make better decisions. And so from where we were to where we are now, we've got a streamlined way to move data, to report on data, to plan for, and to also visualize our data. Our project goals with OAC really helped to making sure we could migrate our cubes from on-prem to the cloud, and in addition to that, we created we moved to a hybrid Essbase cubes. We added visualizations and reporting against a new ADW, Oracle Autonomous Data Warehouse, which houses both financial transactional data as well as operational data that we've taken from our insurance operations system. It's data that supports the financial statements and allows us to do analytics, and allows our accounting team to do analytics using DB. We've built an integration with third-party investments data, which used to be very separate reporting, and now we can bring it together with the rest of our internal financial data and show it to people all on the same set of dashboards. And we've also built out additional OAC repositories to combine all of these data sources with flattened accounts and smart scenarios, and allow us to provide one overall experience to the users. This is just a visual of what that looks like, but really in the end, how do we provide dashboards, analytics, and data visualization to various groups of people across the company, bringing together various sources?
As Jessica had mentioned, OneCloud was deployed at PEMCO as a data integration solution. It is a platform that enables business users to build integrations and automations without any technical knowledge. It's code-free and GUI-driven. OneCloud is an integration platform as a service. It's used for all integration throughout PEMCO's cloud systems, such as Planning Cloud, OAC, and in the future, it will also be used with Financial Cloud.
As Josie mentioned, we are in that migration stage to OFC, Financials Cloud, and we are in the middle of putting in OneCloud Integration Studio and Data Prep in that implementation. We are using it actively today to move data between planning, EPBCS, and OAC, and also our data warehouse. And we will be using it to move data back and forth between Oracle Financials and between planning and OAC. So we will have one solution that will allow us to move data across all of our cloud software. Our teams love this because, as she mentioned before, there's no coding. And so for what it's done for us in the FP&A team has allowed us to own our data, own the movement of the data, control the tempo of our projects without having to ask for help and assistance from the IT team. And so it's given us a greater independence on the timing of, when to move data and how, and allowed us to make our month-end process and our reporting process a lot more efficient. So our cloud timeline has really been about 2018. We migrated to the planning. In 2019, we moved to OAC Essbase and BI dashboarding. In this year, we've been busy working on our continuing to enhance our DV and BI dashboards. We brought in management reporting, narrative reporting. We started to utilize BI Publisher against our ADW. We are implementing OFC to go live on January 1. And hopefully by first quarter of next year, we will be 100% complete with all of our migrations to the cloud. So a couple of the lessons we learned in at least the parts of the migration that we've done so far is this phased approach. When we moved from planning on-prem to the cloud, we left the on-prem up all the way until we moved, we cut over. And we decided to do a full rebuild on dashboards instead of bringing things from on-prem over. There's so many new enhanced abilities that we wanted to take advantage of everything. Also, we realized that things changed in how the security models and how we wanted to do things made a lot more sense to just really think through it and start from scratch. So we did that. It made a lot of sense, and it was a little more work for people in finance, but for the users, they didn't really see any kind of a downfall because one day they had the old and the next day they had the new, and they were like, wow, look at that. And so it was a great cutover plan for us. The other thing I think I would just mention is, there's some differences in Planning Cloud than on-prem. There's a couple plan element is a new idea that's in the cloud. There's some good stuff about that. Some also interesting pieces about that, understanding where the data lives, whether it's in load or it's in import. So also really be careful about how you build out your chart of accounts. The pre-built members, there's some limitations on using pre-built members and changing aliases. They get updated based on the monthly updates. We chose to use our own hierarchies outside of the pre-built members and utilize and leave ourselves the ability to do our own reporting and not have it be influenced by monthly or quarterly updates. So some of the benefits we've achieved is that what we really like is we can spin up our own Essbase cubes. We can easily write scripts, logic, reduce manual steps. Say it again, our OneCloud implementation has really allowed us to automate and make efficient our data movement. We made our security model, I feel, more secure, but also a lot more simple for the team to manage. We are now using mobile solutions. We're able to utilize those as well. We've got moving to the cloud. It took away a lot of our firewall issues, which has also been great. And then in addition to that, we're able to now provide dashboard reporting to all employees. And I think one of the biggest sort of things that I could say is this idea of using planning for planning and OAC for reporting and analytics, and just understanding what the tools do best and let them do what they do best. Bringing them together for me is how you can get the best out of both worlds. And so just to wrap up, so we're going to continue our enhancements with planning. We have a couple of additional modules that we're going to want to bring in the coming years. We continue to add new dashboards every month. It seems we've got new stuff happening. Now that we're able to spin up our own Essbase cubes, we've got other people in the department that want their own. So the request for Essbase is growing outside of our little finance team, which is nice to see. We're going live with operational static reporting this month using BI publisher, and also using the Doublemint Cloud to run those reports to, which is also a new thing for us. We're using the BI features in Oracle Analytics, mobile features. We're going to be bringing those together with both OAC and Oracle Financials, and we'll have all the rest of our stuff moved to the cloud here by January 1.
Okay, that was the end of the slides. Sorry, I'm just going to stop sharing for a second here. All right, so we'll take some questions right now. All right, how do you manage the data structures?
So we don't have we manage them manually in that we just keep them side by side. If we ever have changes to the hierarchies between planning and OAC, we just make the change in both places. We're also really careful to have the hierarchies be exactly the same between both. And so if in fact there's an alternate hierarchy that's necessary for planning, we'll have it there as an alternate hierarchy, but the primary hierarchy is used across both OAC and planning. And when we put in Financials Cloud, we made sure that the roll-up trees that are in Financials also go back and match planning and OAC. So across all of our financial accounting reporting, everything is the same, at least at the primary account hierarchy level. So in planning, we have a couple of extra hierarchies in different segments or members. And in OAC, we might have a couple of different alternate hierarchies as well for different reporting capabilities, but we keep the primaries exactly the same with the same naming conventions, the same layouts, etc.
Okay. How big is the internal admin team within FP&A to manage these applications?
There's 4 of us plus me, so there's 5.
And you also have your other FP&A duties to do as well.
Yes, so, we also do planning, which we're doing now. And then our ERP team, which helps us with some of the stuff as well, they're just 3. So we've got some kind of big tools for a small shop. That's for sure.
Okay, why did you decide to adopt OneCloud as opposed to one or more of Oracle's data integration tools?
Well, what I found when we were looking at them was I really liked the way that we're using OneCloud for multiple things. So we're using it for triggers to load data based on emails. We're using it for all sorts of other things as well. But we were really, we previously had used FDME to move our data and transform it from PeopleSoft to planning. So that's the data we have currently moving into planning. And in January, we're moving off of that and moving data from financials to planning. We're very happy with the integration that we are using OneCloud to move from planning to OAC with the ease of being able to set up rules, set up imports, the idea that my FP&A team doesn't need to know how to do coding and they can create these strings. It's very user-friendly and like intuitive, and I don't know, it's just a tool that makes a lot of sense for us. We looked at the tools out of the box that came from Oracle, and it's not that they don't work. They probably all do just fine. It's just that some of them were very more complicated in terms of technically, and had to know more coding. Some of them had, you had to know some other kind of Oracle specific stuff. My team has enough on their plate with their FP&A and planning responsibilities that I was trying to look for a tool that would just make sense and would be easy. And it does both. Also, it's just really fits in well with all the tools moving stuff together. So.
Okay. What would you say was the easiest and the most difficult part of the migration?
I would say that the planning migration was definitely harder than OBIE to OAC. So OBIE to OAC was a great movement because really we were just rebuilding dashboards, and there's a lot more stuff you can do. And so it was more work because there was more we could do. We wanted to rebuild everything to look better. But the planning on-prem to cloud was a little more difficult because there's just different elements. The whole plan element idea, where's data live, trying to remember that whenever you're trying to search for something, and why is there data, why is there not data, where does it live, that kind of a thing. For the team, they struggled a little bit with that. I think now after a couple of years, they've gotten that down. And also, you know, just getting workforce in there, it was different. We had originally on-prem kind of built our own workforce to mirror exactly how our payroll gets done. So this idea, I think one of the things is, you know, if it's in the cloud, you can't really personalize everything. You know, the customization idea is sort of not there. So there's some out of the box stuff you want to take advantage of. And so we really wanted to do that with workforce. And some of the moving to the cloud is the harder part isn't the movement to the cloud. It's really the getting people on board within the company to say, look, I get it's not exactly what you might do if you were using Excel, but this is how the system works, and we're going to try to adapt to that, and explaining it, and user adoption of, hey, this isn't how it used to be. We, you know, where when everything on-prem, you can just build or spend the money to build it to retroactively look like you would have done it in Excel. This is a new frame of mind that I think was probably the most complicated part for us.
Okay, yeah, and I would say that basically some of the things that you struggled with, Jessica,
Yeah.
you know, they, I think you began your journey about 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, and started off with Planning Cloud.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot has changed over the last 2 years where I think it would have been a lot easier, you know, now, you know, because we could, you know, bring your own accounts. Now that's a, you know,
that's a thing.
feature.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that wasn't supported back then when you were doing it. So, yeah, so it was,
yeah,
so there's a lot of improvements since then.
Yeah, that's funny. So PEMCO, we have this affliction that we do to ourselves. We have this thing we have early adoption syndrome. So we have this thing where we want to get the newest and greatest kind of at the beginning, which means we tend to see a lot of the, you know, first phase issues. Thankfully, that's good for the next group of people that put it in if that's now fixed. So
it sure is. You blazed the trail for everybody else.
That's good.
All right. Okay, that's all the questions I see right now. Okay, so I think we're good to wrap up.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a great day.